Moana 2 is set to be Disney's next big hit, and it has everything to surpass the first movie featuring the Polynesian princess. But did you really catch all the incredible details and Easter eggs in the new trailer? The previous trailers already emphasized how the events of the first movie impacted the lives of all the characters, not just Moana and the people of her island, but also Maui. We can see that he got a tattoo of Moana among the many others that represent the deeds of the demigod. After all, the adventures he had with Moana in the first movie must have been one of his greatest feats. Will we see Moana's tattoo come to life, just like Mini Maui? The mini version of Maui was definitely one of the funniest characters in the first movie. And that's just the first of the 10 incredible Easter eggs and updates you might have missed in Moana 2. So ride the wave as we dive into another Cinewave episode. We got a glimpse of Moana's crew in the previous trailer, but this new one gives us a fresh look at the characters and their roles on Moana's boat. The most highlighted so far is Moni, a tall, strong man who appears to be the group's historian. He doesn't seem to be very brave though. He explains to Moana about the curse cast by the film's villain, which she will have to break. Moni might have been Granny Tala's apprentice and could be the only person who knows the ancient legends and secrets. That would explain why Moana seeks his help, since she'll need to know everything about the curse to break it. Then there's Loto, a girl obsessed with boats. It's very likely she'll be the crew's carpenter, responsible for fixing Moana's boat, or maybe even the one who builds her a new one. Another crew member is Kele, the oldest person on the entire island of Motunui. He's a very experienced farmer who knows how to store and obtain food, which could be extremely useful on Moana's journey. These crew members hint that the journey in this film may be long and dangerous, as Moana seems concerned about rationing supplies and having someone to fix her boat. Aside from them, a likely unexpected addition to Moana's crew is a Kakamora, which will probably lead to some really funny scenes.
Hey!
We finally got the official reveal of Matangi, described as the film's villain. What we know about her so far is that aside from being persuasive and enigmatic, she also controls bats and has some kind of history with Maui. Her name appears in several Polynesian languages, referring to wind. However, she might also be a nod to Lutogi, the Polynesian goddess of bats and the night, two characteristics that seem closely tied to Matangi. Perhaps she's Maui's ex-girlfriend or even a relative, like a sister. Regardless of their past relationship, I wouldn't be surprised if Matangi wants to destroy him after Maui wronged her. Let's not forget one of Maui's feats mentioned in the first movie was defeating a monstrous bat, which might be connected to this villain. Although Matangi has been confirmed as the antagonist, is it possible she'll join forces with Moana by the end of the movie? It's a possibility, especially since Moana will face another enemy, which we'll discuss later. In the scene where Matangi says Moana will be destroyed if she tries to unite the people, she could be giving the protagonist a warning rather than a threat. Another clue supporting this theory is that Matangi appears alongside Moana in promotional art, as if they were friends. Perhaps Matangi is just one of the enemies Moana encounters, and she changes sides after Maui apologizes, whatever he did wrong. Even if that's the case, it's certain that Maui and Matangi will have a showdown at some point. There's even a scene where Maui fights a swarm of bats. I have a feeling he'll need Moana's help to handle the villain, as he seems to be in trouble. Given that Matangi is described as persuasive, she could pretend to switch sides at one point, only to betray the heroes later as a form of revenge against Maui. But she better think twice before doing something like that, because Moana and Maui could definitely take her down in the end. Are you super excited to see Moana's sequel? Drop a comment below with #Moana. A scene from the previous trailer shows Moana and her crew falling into a massive vortex in the ocean. It's highly likely they end up in the realm of monsters, as other parts of the trailer feature colossal sea monsters. Another possible outcome is that Moana's crew gets separated from her after the fall, as there's a scene where they're being attacked by a monster and Moana isn't there. You can also see that the boat is damaged at this point, probably because the fall destroyed it. So if Loto really knows how to fix boats and has that role in the group, she'll be super useful for getting them out of this mess. I have a feeling that while Moana's new companions are fleeing from monsters and trying to repair the boat, Moana and Maui will confront Matangi, and this is when the battle between the demigod and the supposed villain will take place. Before or after that, there's a good chance we'll see the scene where Matangi tells Moana she'll be destroyed if she tries to break the curse placed by Nalo, who is actually the real villain of the movie, as the setting seems to match Matangi's fight with Maui. Though Matangi seems to be the villain, the one behind the movie's main conflict is Nalo, the god of storms. Nalo created the curse that separated humans, and Moana's goal is to break that curse and unite them again. The reason behind the mysterious storm god's actions is his fear of the power humans might hold if they're united. Also, it looks like Moana isn't the first to try to undo this curse. In one scene, Moana's ancestors are seen traveling to the island she needs to reach to break the curse. Grandma Tala might have been part of this group, since it likely happened while she was still young. Once again, the heroine has to complete a mission her ancestors failed to accomplish. So far, we've only seen this god as a giant storm, and we have no idea if that's his true form or if he has some kind of physical body.
Well,
now I kinda miss the lava monster.
Now let's talk about the new song we hear in the trailer, We're Back, which is likely the first song of the movie. We only hear a snippet of it in the trailer, but Moana's voice actress Auli'i Cravalho had already performed it at a Disney event. The song talks about how Moana's people are much more connected with the ocean now and how good it feels for her to return home. This suggests she now spends a lot of time away from her homeland, and it might also refer to her people, as they had previously abandoned their original traditions and are now back to being sailors. Honestly, I think both interpretations are totally spot on. In the trailer, there's also a scene that likely takes place before Moana embarks on her dangerous journey, where she and her sister are playing with the ocean. Right after this moment, Moana's little sister gives her a starfish so the heroine can remember her during her perilous trip. If you didn't notice, one of the songs from the first movie plays during this scene, referencing the moment when young Moana starts interacting with the sea. I bet this will be one of the most beautiful scenes in the second movie, showcasing how strong Moana's bond with her sister is.
You were gone forever.
Another curious thing is that Moana's pig and silly chicken appear before she sets off on her journey to break Nalo's curse, but they don't show up with the crew during one of the scenes that seem to happen near the film's climax. Does this mean she'll leave them on the island, fearing they might cause trouble or get into danger? Actually, no. The pig is seen in the arms of one of the characters when they're being sucked into the water vortex, and we even get a brief glimpse of him in a scene that seems to take place just as the crew leaves MOANA. Plus, both animals are present in the scene where Moana reunites with Maui in the previous trailer. Maybe the animals get separated from Moana at some point during the movie. It's most likely during the part where everyone falls into the vortex. Wow. In one of the funniest moments of the trailer, Maui tries to transform into a giant hawk, but ends up turning into a tiny fish instead. Moana and her friends start thinking he's having trouble controlling his transformation powers, just like in the first movie, but he quickly reveals that he was just messing around and then takes the form of a hawk. This is great because it means we'll get to see Maui, played by The Rock Dwayne Johnson, in full form throughout the movie. That said, there's a scene where he's transformed into that half-shark form just like he did by accident in the first film. Is it another joke, or is he going to lose control of his hook's power again? Before we move on, make sure to hit that subscribe button to keep receiving our content. Speaking of Maui, we've got a hint of another possible song he'll sing in Moana 2. This happens in a scene where he and Moana are standing side by side, with the setting around them looking very similar to the one imagined by Maui when he sings You're Welcome in the first film, boasting about his achievements. It's possible he'll sing a similar song in the sequel, or maybe this time to talk about his past with Matangi and explain why she's evil. Or, as we've theorized in this video, to explain how he majorly messed things up with her, causing her to hate him, though in a way only Maui could, making it seem like he did nothing wrong. It would be hilarious if that happened, especially if the song is as good as the one Maui sang in the first movie to brag about his feats. It would also be a really creative way to explain the backstory of the likely villain. To keep having fun, just click on one of the two videos we've left on the screen. I bet you'll love it. Thanks, and see you next time!